Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes. Hello. Can you see and hear me?
My computer volume down. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
That was one thing that was going wrong. That was one thing that was going wrong. That was one thing that was going wrong. Now I'm not going. Hello, Dennis. Good morning. Well, good afternoon to you.
Hello, Tony. Good morning to you.
So I am not able to control the stage for some reason. It's controlled by Dennis. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Great. I'm wondering if you can make it to where we're both seen. So it's, I forget what it's called. Yes.
Your grid view. Yeah.
More than, yes. Hi, Hillary.
Good morning.
Okay, great.
Hi,
there we go. Now we're in grid view. Y'all had me wondering if I was going to be the only one here for a little bit. It's like, I don't know if they're coming. Oh, it's good to see you guys. It's early for us, Dennis. And I have children sleeping in my living room. So I'm going to try to be quiet, which is very much not like me to be quiet. If you've known me for any given amount of time, you know that I'm usually very loud and animated. So it is because of sleeping children.
Are they in the close living room or the farther one?
They're in the farther living room, thankfully. Okay. Yes, but as I heard them partying all night, I'm sure they'll hear me this morning working. They're only 12. They're just adorable. And so they stayed up just chatting all night long. It was so precious. So precious, but it did keep me up a little later than normal. A lot of things kept me up later than normal, but anyway. Welcome to the first official reboot of the Operation Circle. Hillary, would you like to put an overlay up? Those are really helpful when I'm looking at the replays for me to know what meeting I'm in. Very helpful. So thank you so much for doing those. And Dennis, this really is your first time in like an official circle, isn't it?
I know, yes.
So first of all, we should just celebrate that. So welcome, and we'll check in. So we'll check in, and then we'll do all things circle-ish, and you'll get to feel what this feels like. It doesn't feel much different than being in any other meeting that you have with Luke 10, but we do have some specific things that we attend to. So why don't we start with the check-in? Boy, I'm going to tell you guys, I am checking in as curious, incredibly curious. I am super excited, thankful, and just really joyful. So I'm super excited. No, I'm curious first. I'm super excited to be here and joining. Those are the easy ones, so I'll go there first. I'm excited to be here, forming a new circle, and I am so thrilled that you're with us, Dennis. I'm just thrilled. So I cannot wait to work with you. We've trained together for years. I've seen you in action for over a year now, personally, and I am just delighted to work together. So this week has been just so much fun and so joyful, and it has been lots of work, but there's just been a lot of energy in me to sustain the work. I'll probably be dead next week, but that's neither here nor there. And so just so enjoying our people and what we're doing. I am so curious because I don't know what God is doing in Nashville, and I have met a friend. I'll go ahead and shout her out, Deborah, a friend of mine that I've met here. I met her through Annie, my daughter. She made friends, and this woman is the mother of one of these friends. And we met, and the short of it is, God has put in her a passion to try to create a program of some sort in Nashville that would nurture the emotional, spiritual development, specifically of musicians, so that when they get famous or when they live their life of seeking fame and seeking fortune and seeking performance, they don't kill themselves along the way. She is just, her and her husband both were in the music industry for years and years and years and years. And all of her friends, so many of her friends have killed themselves. And it's just, it's an epidemic. It really is. And it's never been studied. Stats are really hard to find on it, but she personally has a list of hundreds of people. And so God's put it in her to go after this. So she presented me a proposal that she's about to present to Belmont University to initiate this project. And when I looked at the proposal, it's almost the exact same proposal Matt had in Uruguay for trying to end trying to bring mental health to Uruguay and end depression and suicide there. So I'm reading this proposal and I'm in like a flashback and I'm going, God, what in the world are you doing? And so, but I could tell she's still struggling with what the program would be or what the content would be. And so I've been communicating with her back and forth. And yesterday we met. And they're coming for dinner Saturday night. And Matt, my husband's excited to meet them because they have all the connections. They have all the finances. They have everything they need. They have famous singers and musicians that would get on board with this in a heartbeat. And they just don't know how to write a 3-page proposal. I kid you not. And they're like, could you help me write this proposal? And like, could you sell us your content, like whatever that is you're doing with that Luke 10 thing? Like, I've read your books and stuff. Like, can you? Anyway, I'm sure if that moves forward, it will affect us in ways we have no clue of what to do at that level when people want our content and we don't really have it. Anyway, so I'm still in the aftermath of, wow, God, I have no idea what you're up to, but this is amazing and exciting. And I don't know if it'll come to fruition or not. We work with a lot of entrepreneurs, right? But I just don't know what God's doing, and I'm quite amazed over it. So I'm in. That was a little longer than normal. Sorry.
That's so exciting.
Crazy. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Only God could do something this crazy.
Mm.
And then
Can you sell us the content? Well,
yeah, that we would find each other in the sea of Nashville is just beyond. Anyway, more than that, I feel like we have friends that they even know what a proposal is, right? They think at these systemic levels.
yes.
And I don't have any friends that do that in Nashville.
I was going to say outside of this.
Right, outside of the circle, outside of Luke 10. So I'm super, super excited about just that friendship and even possibly just what could happen from that. So.
Yeah, Tony, I'm excited with you, and actually I'm grateful for your kind words that you said at the beginning. They mean a lot coming from you. So just wanted to say that. And also, excited with you about this interesting new adventure.
Maybe I'll bring you to Nashville, Dennis. Okay.
Yes. Not to mention that Nashville, Tennessee is the third capital of music in the whole United States. And when it comes to country music, I hear it's the capital.
Yeah. So who knows? Who knows what we'll be doing in years from now?
Mm-hmm.
Any other check-in, Dennis? Is that it?
Oh, I was more reflecting on what you said, but yeah, I can do do my check-in. Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. This morning I was a bit frustrated, but now I am grateful and content. Frustrated as we continue to deal with some of the bureaucratic things here, where in Turkey, where I am, and it was interesting that this morning I went to one of the bureaucracy offices and I succeeded. So I'm grateful. Yes, actually, I have accomplished twice as much as I planned to accomplish. So I'm grateful. Yes, a nice little thing. Yes, I need to get myself a set of those too.
I'll send you the printouts.
Okay. Yes. And just grateful and content, wondering what God want to do next with this. So, amen. And of course, I'm excited to be here on the first circle, first meeting of the first circle. So,
Thank you. Hillary.
Yes, thank you. I am checking in as rested. Man, I don't know how many y'all are praying for me to like sleep well, but I have been sleeping well and it has been great. So thank you if that's one of you. Our curtain rod fell down last week, I think. And we live on a busy city, not a busy city street, but it's a city street. Everybody has their lights on. So our room hasn't been as dark as it has been. And this was the first night that it was like dark again. So that was lovely. Very well rested. How else? Excited. Oh, probably a little silly. Tony texted me this morning and her voice to text was supposed to say debrief, but it said dead. And that made me laugh. This person needs to be dead. Instead of debriefed. And I just laughed because I know what she's saying, but man, voice to text does not like her accent. And
if you work with me long, you know that I only voice to text, pretty much emails, everything. And sometimes they don't always come out right.
Sometimes I don't know what she's saying.
I understand,
Coder. But yeah. Anyway, so a little silly because that was just funny. And I think supported. Yesterday was really important for me as kind of creative operations person in Luke 10 to just be held and have space created for me to be frustrated and even have John acknowledge that my own expectations were probably a little too high and that what we've got going on now is perfectly fine. So that kind of helped ease a lot. And then Tony came in and just was tackling some of the replay issues that we were finding. So yeah, very, very supported as well. Mm-hmm. I'm in.
Thanks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a beast. That was a beast. So,
and it's still not done.
I know, right? Did you see my email though? Yeah. Did you get it? Good. So thank God we can at least download them and we have them. That is exciting. But yeah, not all of them. We're still missing some key ones, but oh well. All right, great. Well, first off, let's do elections because we need to do that in our circles. Yes, Hillary.
I haven't really talked to him about circles at all or how we're formed.
Great. I was going to ask. That's great. So we're gonna do elections first, and then we'll jump into all of that, what this is and everything. But the purpose of elections, Dennis, in our circles, we have roles. And I tried to send you the agenda today. Did you get the agenda?
Yeah, I got the file.
Uh-huh. Good. Okay. So that file is posted in Discord if you ever lose it. You can find it under our agendas in our Discord channel. And you can save it to your own drive in Google Drive. And it stays live as long as you don't download it. You just put it in your own drive. I'm sure that makes sense to you, Dennis, because you are very tech savvy. Okay. I didn't want to insult you, but I also didn't want to just run right through that. If you're like, I don't have a Google Drive account. I mean, I can't imagine.
I appreciate you saying that. Yeah.
Okay. And so this is where we find ourselves when we're together. And we'll go over what all this is in that document in just a minute. But each circle has roles for it to function well. And we share those roles. We each have a role usually. And we do elections in order to figure out who's going to have those roles. So what are elections with circles and sociocracy? So y'all have not done any circle overlay at all at this point, like circle overview.
Dennis, I didn't show you the bubble bath, right? No. Yeah.
Man.
Big circles. We've just been tackling work every single time we've met, which has been phenomenal.
I can't wait to hear about it. Okay, maybe we should back up then and do the bubble bath. I usually meet with people immediately when we onboard them to do the bubble bath, and so I'm sorry that that's what we call it because it's funny. Sorry, it looks like a bubble bath. Sorry, I have not met with you yet, so we will do it now. And if you've hung around Kent Smith long, which you have, you know that he has a way of governing an organization, leading and steering an organization in a very specific way. So, most denominations, Christian denominations, really were divided, yes, around theology, but more than that, around how they govern themselves. Mm-hmm. So the Presbytery governs themselves one way. Baptists do elections, right? And everyone has a vote, whereas in some congregations, not everyone has a vote. The pastor decides what happens, and it's top down. And so every church kind of has a different way that they govern themselves traditionally. And the Luke 10 also has a way we govern ourselves. But years ago in Europe, there was a way of governing called sociocracy that was formed. And Dennis, if you don't know much about sociocracy, I'm looking for my book, Hillary. You don't have
Mine's
yours.
Yep.
Great. If you could show the book. I highly recommend 2 books to you. And I recommend them to you, Dennis, because I know your top leadership are going to run organizations, if not this one day, others. It's just part of what you do and who you are, I believe. And so I think you'll enjoy learning everything you can about these models, this model of governing. So one of the books is Many Voices, One Song. And it's a pretty big powerhouse book there. I have not read them cover to cover, I will tell you, because I'm an activator. I pretty much read what I need in order to activate what I'm doing right now. Mm-hmm. But lots of people like all the details, right? They want to know everything. Mm-hmm. So it has everything you need to know in it. And if you need a copy of it, or if you want to be reimbursed for a copy, just send us, either I can order it for you on Luke 10 and send it your way, or you can order it and just send us the receipt to get reimbursed, because you have some ministry funds that you can use for a few things like that. No problem.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah.
Because these books might be expensive. So there's that.
They also might be in Russian. I know they're in a bunch of different languages, but I don't know if they're in Russian yet.
Yeah, I usually prefer to get my books on Kindle, and I see that the price is a Kindle version is a third of a paperback, so that's good.
That's cool. That's fantastic. Also, the other book that is that we use is called Reinventing Organizations. Absolutely amazing. I think Hillary and I both have the illustrated version for dummies.
It's easy to read.
It has lots of pictures, and it really is kind of the most practical things you would need to know, as opposed to the textbook. They do have the textbook version if you're into that. And that book really helps explain the different paradigm that we live in Luke 10 with sociocracy, which we call divine governance. Because so sociocracy I think it was founded in Holland, and I don't remember the year, but it was probably, 20 or 30 years ago, if not more. And then it migrated its way to the United States. Okay. Mm-hmm. And when it did, and I'm going to interview Kent Smith today, so I'm going to get this story on an interview. When it did, I'm pretty sure Kent Smith found out about it pretty soon after it arrived. And I think he was one of the first United Statesians to really dive into this new way of governing and get his head inside of it, and then bring Christ into it and listening to God into it, and then adapt it and call it divine governance. Mm-hmm. So, and it so beautifully fits with Christianity and divine governance, because it's all about the people having a voice. So every single voice matters. Everyone's voice is heard, and every voice matters. And God's voice does too. So it lends itself, as you can see, to connecting heart to heart with each other and connecting to God together as we're leading an organization. I'm going to pause there and just let you react to that. Reaction, response, any thoughts or questions so far?
Yes, actually, the little I know about sociocracy, it makes perfect sense. And I love the idea that every voice is heard and being attended to. And yeah, I look forward to getting to know more. Thank you very much for the book recommendations. The second book that you recommended is at Reinventing Organizations, an illustrated invitation to join the conversation on next stage organizations.
Yes.
Okay.
That's going to blow your mind. And when you do read that, please let us know, because we can have like little reaction rounds in our operations circle.
Yeah, I'd love to
read it together. To be honest, I haven't read through all of it yet.
Okay.
We love to geek out on these things. And you know what, Hillary, what we should do is we can send you the workshop that Matt, my husband, led at the conference last year, because it was on that book. So you can listen. It's probably an hour and a half of him presenting the material and us dialoguing about it and answering questions. My husband is a geek when it comes to that stuff. Like that's his jam. If he could roll around in organizational development all day, he would. And it is, one day he will, I know. Anyway, so we geek out a lot at home. My children know all the colors and pretty much how they function.
Yes. Is there any particular order I should read this book? So listen to the workshop first. What would you recommend?
Yeah, listen to your heart and listen to God. And just do whatever you want to do, because we'll give you enough to function in our circle. So wherever your curiosity is piqued the most, you just go for it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. And Tony mentioned this with the Many Voices, One Song book. We tend to look at the table of contents and then just go in there. But if you want to go straight through, go straight through. But that book is especially easy to just pick up piece by piece.
How to.
Okay.
How to. So if you, for example, start stewarding the circle, you might want to jump into that book and go, how do I steward a circle? What does that mean? I mean, we're obviously going to be helping you and showing you and modeling, but that's when I started grabbing that book, was when I had to actually start leading and I needed to know what to do. That makes sense.
Yes.
That being said, I should have that book with me right now, because we're going to go over job descriptions, and I'm sure we have role descriptions. I know I have actually printed out what these role descriptions are at some point. I've copied pages from the book, but it's been so long since I've launched a circle, I don't have them handy. So
I do.
You do? Yeah. Okay. There's a few places in the book that talk about roles. So I might grab my book too, Hillary, just in case I'm in a different place than you and I want to share both.
Sure. I highlighted it from last time.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, good, good, good. Oh, why do I have two Reinventing Organizations book and not a One Heart? Many Voices, One Song. That's irritating. I guess you can see which one I use more, since I have it twice in my office. I can't find it. All right, well, I'll just trust you to find what we need. That's super funny. I cleaned my office recently, which you should never do. Okay. Because I lose everything when I clean it. Okay, so let's do the bubble bath first, and then we'll jump into roles, because that'll give you the big picture, and then we'll zoom into our picture. And that might be all we do today, and that's okay. We can decide to meet again if we need to soon. I think we might even have something scheduled for the end of the month. But Hillary, thank you. Okay, so Dennis, have you ever seen this chart before? Or this image?
Yeah,
really
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, great. So it might not be completely new. So the way that we function in Sociocracy is, in order to pay attention to the things that need to be paid attention to, we differentiate is the word that we use, or we have focus circles, to say it that way. Areas where we can focus in together around a certain thing and let other people focus on their things, right? And that way, we all get to do so much more work in such a short period of time. And then when we come together in various circles as well to share the work that we're doing with each other. And so the first circle that was formed in Luke 10 was the mission circle. And it is our main governing circle. The work they do is governing work. So in our mission circle, that is John White, Kent Smith, myself, Jim Mellon. My husband, Matt, comes in and out more as an advisory. You can see a little blue circle over there called advisory. So he advises us often. And then you see movement circle over there, finance circle. So those littler circles are off of the mission circle because they report to the mission circle, and they're made up of people from the mission circle, typically, unless it's an advisory. And of course, they're not necessarily in our mission circle, but they advise us. Questions or thoughts about that circle and what they focus on or what they pay attention? They pay attention to the mission and vision of the organization, making sure we're going in the right direction. Yeah. Any thoughts or questions about that?
Yeah, thank you for explaining it. Yeah, so far no questions.
Great. So off of the mission circle, then you see only one big circle attached to the mission circle or connected, and that's the general circle, which we recorded a general circle meeting yesterday. So when that video comes to us, we'll have it, and you could actually watch the general circle meet and see how we birthed this circle. That's super
We can
fun.
see our plans for you too in that meeting.
Oh, that's true. We do talk about you, Dennis. You might see our plans in there. Maybe you shouldn't. No, I'm kidding.
All good.
So we'll let you know when that comes available. But the general circle, we are a daughter circle of the mission circle. So we're the only circle that is connected directly to them. But in the general circle is made up of two people from every other circle in the organization. So that's how we continue to hear the voice of others. So, for example, in the mission circle, you have John and myself. And in the general circle, you have John and myself. So we're in both circles, but then in the general circle, there's Hillary and there's Susan currently. And so we do what we need to do there. And then John and I go to the mission circle and we represent the general circle to the mission circle. That makes sense. So there's always a double linking in the major circles. Always. That way you don't have any one person telling a story to one group and telling a different story to another group. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
Great. Hillary.
Yeah, I do have the image with the arrows. I don't know if that's overwhelming, but I do have that.
Why don't you pull it up and let's just see it. If it's overwhelming, we can swap back. Well, that's fun. There we go. So you can see it's a double arrow because they're linked together by two people. So in the general circle, then, the general circle is made up of two people from the comms team or comms circle, two people from the conference circle, two people from the equipping circle, two people from the operations circle. Yeah. And that is who will make up the general circle. That way, no matter how big those other circles get, they have two voices representing them into the general circle, which then goes into the mission circle. So on any given week, the mission circle has a pulse of the entire organization by connecting to the general circle. Does that make sense? Great. So comms circle right now is pretty much Hillary. I think it's Hillary, Zach, John, possibly. Yes,
nope. So our communication circle is me, you, Zach, and Karin.
Oh, right. Okay. That's right. Thank you.
We meet once a month, and you are with us.
I don't steward that circle, as you can tell. It's one of the few that I do not steward, so I thankfully don't have to keep up with all that. And then the conference circle right now is Susan and Hillary, and I come and join when they need me. And then the equipping circle is John, Kent, and myself. And now the operations circle will be us three. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So I think that gives you the big picture. So we'll fit as one of those light green circles off of the general circle. And that will complete our organizational diagram, so to speak. We will not, you really can't have more than 4 circles on the general, off of, connecting to the general circle.
Mm-hmm.
And the conference circle comes and goes. So it doesn't work full time all the time, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is an adjunct circle that forms when necessary, meets when necessary, and then maybe go dormant for a few months at a time. So it is connected to the general circle, but it's not always active. At least there you go. Okay. Thank you, Hillary.
I don't need to be doing this live. Sorry, you can tell me to stop at any time.
That's all right. Go ahead. You can stop sharing. We'll get on with roles then. But that's super fun to see. Okay. So in this circle then, to run well, we have several roles. The first role, I'll name them and then we'll go through what they are. The first role is the steward of the circle. And I think in the book they use leader, don't they, Hillary?
Thank you.
They use the word leader. But we chose steward because it helped remind me that I am nurturing, caring for, and overseeing. I'm not like leading, like Jesus leads this circle. Thankfully,
Mm-hmm.
I just get to pay attention to it more than the other people because I'm stewarding it. So if I'm stewarding it, so whoever is stewarding it. So the steward pays attention to the agenda. We make sure the agenda gets formed every week. We are the ones in the circle that really carry the attention of that circle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The steward doesn't do all the work. The steward doesn't have to do all the work. The steward brings up the issues that need to be talked about and helps the circle stay on its mission and its aims and domains, if that makes sense. So kind of what the mission circle does for the whole organization, the steward does for the circle. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Then we have a facilitator. Well, we'll go to the delegate. We have a delegate. So the general circle chooses the steward of this circle. And that we don't have a choice in that. They form this circle and then they choose the steward because they're our parent circle, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Once we form, we get to decide who the delegate to the general circle is. And that way it's double linked. And that way we get a say in who represents us in that circle. Does that make sense? So that's what the delegate is.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There are double linking. Then we have the facilitator. So the steward is not always necessarily the facilitator. And you know what a facilitator does. So this is the person that shows up and actually facilitates the meeting. Make sure every voice is heard. Make sure we employ the skills we have when necessary. If there's a heated issue, facilitator takes the role of mediator and helps really debate an issue and understand the issue. Maybe the facilitator is the one that says, hey, I think we need a timeout and listen to Jesus on this. So the facilitator is looking at time. They're looking at, is everything fair for everyone? Are we handling the issue well? And they're governing the moment of the circle. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we have the scribe or the administrator of the circle. And with Luke 10, what they do, what is the term in the book? Do they use
secretary?
They
still use secretary,
wow.
which is why we use admin or scribe.
Yes. So I love scribe because I feel like that really is what this role is about, is capturing what we're talking about, putting it in our notes, especially the times we listen to Jesus and what we're hearing from him, so that we don't forget the things he's saying to us and the way he's leading us, capturing all of that, capturing the decisions we make, the policies that we build, etc. And they do that right here in our Google Docs agenda. So today, it's really easy to be an admin or a scribe because we all sometimes fill in what we're thinking, or you can tell people, okay, put in what you heard from Jesus on here this week,
Mm-hmm.
So we all get to participate in that log, thankfully, because of the way technology is today. It used to be that the scribe wrote everything down and then had to read it back to the group, and the group had to consent on that, right? But thankfully, we don't have to do it that way with this technology.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was going over the Discord with you, Dennis, I mentioned the Scribe channel, and that has some more like how-tos or what's been working for our various scribes in our circles, in our ecosystem.
We will give you whatever training you need for whatever role you fill.
Mm-hmm.
Hillary, as I've gone through these and you're looking at the book, are there things that I'm missing that need to be pointed out?
I don't think so. You're actually doing a really great job summarizing the things that we've missed, if we want to call that, is technical terms, but like we don't use technical terms that much.
Okay. What are some of them?
Yeah. So the Steward is also known as the top-down link.
Oh, right.
When you're talking about double linking, and the delegate is the bottom-up link. But I don't know if
which we don't really use because obviously we don't like the language anymore of top-down, because it's not like, it's being led top-down. What they mean is parent circle. If the parent circle were here and the daughter circle was here, the top obviously is the parent circle. So this is someone coming from the parent circle and this is someone coming from that one. But we like to see ours side by side, as you can see on the diagram. The mission circle isn't at the top and then the other one here and then the others below. It's kind of a bubble bath.
Yeah. The other thing worth noting is that the steward and the facilitator are separate roles because they take on separate, they have separate responsibilities, but they can be the same individual.
Mm-hmm. They can be. Also, some things the scribe does, some extra things the scribe does is they do create they update the notes for each meeting so that when we come into the agenda, it's ready to go for today. So I did that for today's agenda because obviously we didn't have any roles yet. So when we all landed there, it's June 16th and we have, a somewhat of an agenda built already. So they're responsible for getting that ready. They're responsible for reminding us when it's time to do elections. They also help interpret policy to this circle. So if we made policy about intro calls, for example, and we decided to send, an email to our intro call people telling them whatever, and we decided that 6 months ago, I might show up and go, what are we doing with intro call people, right? And the scribe would say, well, 6 months ago, we made a policy that we were going to send them this email. Okay, that might not make sense, but it becomes clear later. But you remind us of the policy we've made or the decisions that we have made if we forget them. Or you help us find them if we don't know where they are, if you're the admin. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Great. Okay. I think we're ready to dive into elections. We haven't done this enough to be like pros at this, so we'll stumble our way through it together. Hillary has had a great example recently live with Kent Smith on how to do elections. So I don't know, Hillary, do you want to facilitate this? No?
No.
Okay. I will stumble my way through it then. Okay. So Steward is taking care of, delegates taking care of, because this is so new and you're new to Sociocracy, Dennis. The general circle went ahead and said, let Hillary be the steward, the delegate for now. And we want Tony as the steward for now. But I would like to just propose already in the notes that we reevaluate that in 3 months or maybe even 2 months. What do you think, Hillary?
Let's go 3.
Okay. Let's reevaluate that. Let's revote in 3 months about delegate, and we'll talk to the circle, the general circle as well in 3 months about who really should steward the circle. I always steward things when we're getting things started, Dennis, just because I start things.
Right.
It's part of what I do.
And
I don't like to run things if I don't need to be running them. That is not helpful.
History of operation.
Yes, and at this point, I steward many circles, most of the circles. John has a few, Hillary has a few, and I'm pretty much in every circle, I think. So the more I can pass on, the better. But 3 months we'll run it. So what we're looking for then is facilitator next, and then scribe and admin. Hillary, did they tackle these one at a time, or did they have you listen and write both of your recommendations down before discussing either of them? Do Do you remember?
We were just doing one role. So we just did one role. So let's just do one at a time.
Right. We'll do one at a time. So let's do facilitator. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to just listen for maybe 2 minutes, and we're going to ask God, who needs to facilitate the circle? Like, who would be the best facilitator, or not even the best? Who would be a good facilitator for this moment? I like to say it that way because maybe someone needs to learn to facilitate. Maybe someone doesn't feel confident yet doing that, and this would be a great opportunity to learn. So it doesn't need to be the best person for the job. It needs to be the person that God wants for now. And so you're going to tap a little bit into God. What do you want? But you're also going to obviously think about, well, who do I nominate for the job? Is that the right terminology? Help me if I use words that are elect. Thank you. I knew that was wrong. Who do I elect?
Go ahead.
Or it isn't nominate.
It is nominate, and then we do.
And then we elect.
Have a consent round, and then we elect. Sorry,
that's okay.
Wasn't fully catching up.
Who would I nominate for this role, and why? What characteristics do I see in them that would make me think, wow, I think this person should do this? And really, it becomes a mini encouragement session for the people that we're nominating. So the way the process works then is we'll do that, we'll listen, and we'll write down who we're nominating. And then we will do a round, and we will share who we're nominating and why. And then at that point, if we have different people that we're nominating, we will do a change round. Because after listening to everyone else, you might change your opinion. So we'll do a change round, and you can say same or I change, and then you explain who. And we see how far we get with that. Yes, Hillary?
If you are nominated, you're not allowed to say yes or no yet either, which is really hard.
Very true. Thank you.
We're so small, but you can't react to people nominating you yet. There is a space for that, and that will be coming after the change round.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Tony.
Good. If, for example, we all three had 3 different nominations and we never agreed, like we went 3 change rounds and it's still different and still different, at that point, the steward makes a proposal. Mm-hmm. So at that point, I would just say, okay, I'm going to propose so-and-so serve in this role. Does anyone have a paramount objection? And that's called the consent round. Mm-hmm. And this is unique to Luke 10, and maybe you've heard us talk about it before. We don't vote and take majority rules. That does not happen in this organization, nor do we wait for everyone to agree, because that's consensus, and that slows an organization down. Mm-hmm. So if you can't vote and take majority rules, because that obviously divides your organization, and if you can't just wait for everyone to say they're in or agree on the same person, what do? And that's what is called consent. And it's powerful. It is, I love it. I never want to work for an organization again that runs in either of these other 2 categories. What consent does is it allows for forward movement without damaging the organization itself. It allows for lots of experiments. So what consent says is, I might not want this person in that role. I might not even think they're the best person for that role, but I honestly don't have a paramount objection to it. Yeah. So what is a paramount objection? A paramount objection really is an objection based on a divergence from our mission, our aims, or our domains, right? Our goals of the group, our aims. So if having this person in that role would prohibit us from moving forward or staying true to our aims, that would be a paramount objection. If I had a moral problem with it, maybe it's not elections, but it's a decision that we're making. And I just know that will lead us away from listening to God. We cannot do that. I have a paramount objection. So basically, I can't just say, well, I object because I don't like the idea. Like, that's not possible. If I don't like the idea, but I don't have a paramount objection, sustained, and that idea moves forward as an experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Any questions about that?
Yep. Thank you very much for explaining it all to me. I think so far it's so clear.
Okay, good. Am I going too slow, Dennis? Do you feel like I'm belaboring things? And
No. I appreciate you taking time to explain everything. It makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Okay. I just want to make sure you don't feel insulted. Like, oh my gosh, I wish you'd
No.
talk faster. Okay.
Mhm. I appreciate the speed. Thank you. And thank you for asking.
Okay. So let's do facilitator then. I'm the steward of the circle. Doesn't mean I have to be the facilitator. Yes, Hillary?
I was just going to talk about when you do have a paramount objection and what you do after that, because you can't with the proposal.
Yeah, I think we can do that just in time.
Perfect.
When it's necessary, if it's necessary, we'll go there. If not, I think we can just not worry about it today.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take a minute of silence and listen into yourself, listen to God. God, who could facilitate this group for this season? Okay. We can go in the round, and I'm going to go last just because I want to hear what y'all are thinking, although I have mine written down, but I don't want to influence you guys or freak you out too soon. Dennis, what do you think?
Well, for facilitator, I would like to see Tony.
Okay. And any reasons why?
I guess a personal reason. I want to learn as much as possible from you.
Okay. Thank you. Hillary.
What do we do when we can't write a name down?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. We've kind of had that problem before, and I think Kent was pushing people to come to a decision. But
yeah,
maybe you can change on your change round. Maybe you can.
Can I do that? Can we just bend the rules a little bit? I would love to change on the change round.
Yes. Yes. All right. So I honestly, I thought about Hillary facilitating this circle. And mainly because Hillary, you have been doing operations. You've been the steward for the operations circle for over a few years now. And then you moved into communications, and Dennis might not know this history. So Hillary was stewarding and facilitating the ops circle when it was a thing years ago. And then we launched the comms team, the comms circle, and she kind of migrated that way. And but she's been handling all of our operations really. I mean, I literally don't even know what's going on most of the time anymore, like I used to. So I think that I mean, that's more of a reason to steward the circle, Hillary, but she didn't want to steward
I've
the
asked to not steward. That is a reason, isn't it?
But I think that at least facilitating it, I'd like to see, I'd like Dennis to get a different person facilitating as well, and seeing your gifts shine and see who you are. Anyway, so I thought about you in that role. All right. Hillary, do you have anything come to you now? Any options?
Is this the change round?
Oh, I do want to propose too that this is for 3 months. I really think in the birthing of this type of circle, we need to probably look at this again in 3 months. Because Dennis, as you onboard and learn your role with Luke 10, I just see this configuration changing and shifting radically. So we want to give you a 3-month kind of learning period and not put too much responsibility on you while you're learning. But once you know what you're doing, we'd like to revisit all of these roles, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, great. So now we go into a change mode. Do we have anyone changing their nomination based on what we're hearing? Mm-hmm. Hillary.
I will change my 0. I am changing to myself. I just feel weird nominating and voting for myself and saying why. So I was just open to, whatever was going to happen. I am changing to nominate Hillary for facilitator because her and Tony work really well together. And one of my paramount objections was not to Steward because I couldn't handle the big while also functioning in the macro or the micro, whatever it is, the really small bits, while also maintaining the big view. So I think having you as Steward enables me to be facilitator.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Dennis, would you like to change your nomination?
Yes, I'm also changing to Hillary now that I have this new information.
Tony, if you want, you can stick to that. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. But I have no paramount objection to Tony, but yeah, with everything that I heard so far, I think now that we're thinking 3 months, sure, yeah, makes perfect sense to me.
All right. Consent round then. Is there any paramount objection to Hillary being the steward? And if you consent, give a thumbs up.
I do not consent to me being a steward.
I mean, sorry, facilitator. You see how I slipped that in really quickly.
She was seeing if I caught it, and I did.
It's a facilitator. Thank you. All right, Hillary, you are the facilitator. At this point, you can take over. You didn't realize that was coming, did you?
No, but you can finish the elections since you said you would facilitate the elections.
All right, I'll finish. Okay, so our next role is Scribe Administrator role. So take a few minutes, think about that one, and see what comes. Okay. All right. Dennis. Maybe we'll let other people go first. I'm sorry for putting you on the spot first because you've never done this before. I shouldn't do that. Sorry. I'll go first. I'm going to nominate Dennis. I'm going to nominate Dennis because Dennis, I see you as, I don't know if I'm reading you correctly, but my experience of you has been that you're very organized, very thorough, and that you have responsibility as a strength. It seems like I've never seen you drop the ball. Never seen you not show up when you're supposed to. Never seen you not do what you say you're going to do. And those are really great qualities when we're dealing with things as important as decision making, policy making, recording the words of God that we're hearing and our hearts around issues. So I know it's a different language, but thankfully we all can work on the agenda together and be there in case there's something that is a struggle. But I would love to see you in that role. And I also think that it's a great learning experience for you in a low stress, kind of low pressure for a first role in a circle. So I'm in. Hillary.
I am nominating Dennis because you have taken copious notes already of what we have been doing in our meetings together and in our trainings. And when we have our question round, you normally reference a list of questions that you already have written down. And it's really exciting to me to see your lists and to see us go through the things. I normally come with an agenda and I know more or less what we're going to talk about, but your ability to write like competent questions, that sounds weird, but like what questions to ask and what needs attending, and you write them down and bring them to us. So in a way, I've seen you in this role secretly already, and I'd love to officially see you in it.
Beautiful. Thank you, Hillary. Dennis.
Well, I mean, what do I say? Thank you very much for your kind words and trust. So yeah, I also thought about becoming a Scribe administrator, start with that and learn as much as possible. And yeah, I would welcome your input, advice, and guidance. What would a Scribe should do or wouldn't do, things like that. So yeah.
All right. So if you were to say, I don't want to be nominated, we could deal with that when it comes up. I don't think we need to tell him what happens if we all disagreed or if the person who was recommended didn't want the job. We'll talk about that when it happens because it probably will in the lifetime of our circle. Let's go ahead and consent to Dennis as the administrative scribe. All right, we have our roles. Congratulations.
Oh, yes. Celebration.
Celebrate. Celebrate.
Yay.
Whenever we consent to something, we celebrate because it sometimes is a very laborious process of months. Okay. So Dennis, Hillary has she has prepared a good bit of training on this role. Mm-hmm. So I will let you give that information and make sure he has everything he needs for this role. Okay. A few of the other things I didn't mention that you do is you remind us of our meetings as well. Mm-hmm. So you might send out a little reminder on Discord. Hey, Hillary and Tony, this circle's meeting this week. Don't forget. Even though we don't forget, but it's always helpful to do that. And then preparing the agenda. We talked about that. Those are the two main things that you'll focus on during these 3 months. And so you would actually put our decisions in our agenda, which we can work on together here just to show you how to do all that. And then the 3-month time frame. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that we know what date elections need to be had. And then you would remind us of those elections when that date happens. So some people put a reminder on their phone or put it on their calendar to say, hey, make sure we do elections, right? Okay. 3 months out would be 1, 2, September. So after the conference. Some week after the conference, whenever we meet, that's when it would happen in September.
Oh, we get to decide when we'd like to meet as well.
That is the next. Yep. Okay. So Hillary, I'm thinking I can hand it over to you if you want to now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just model this for Dennis, Hillary, and then Scribe is going to be Dennis, and then re-elections in September at the conference. Okay. Great. And you can take it over from here.
Great. So Dennis is currently in UTC +3. So he's in Turkey, which is also the same time zone as Karim, just so you know, Tony.
Oh, fun. Okay.
This time frame seems to have been working well for Dennis and I to meet. I know since you're in Central Time, it's very early for you. So it was 6 a.m. for you this morning, Tony.
Right.
So I like this time frame, or an hour later. But I know with summer and with kids, I'm not sure what your availability looks like.
Yeah. For the summer, I'm okay. But as of August 5th, when the kids go back to school, this is the actual hour where I'm getting them up and feeding them breakfast and taking them to school. So I'm doing all of that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that
I'm wondering if we can meet at, we normally meet at 8 a.m. Eastern. So I'm wondering.
I was going to just let you know what time I get back, in case y'all need to know. I do get back usually by 8 a.m. my time, which is 9 a.m. your time. So I am able to work at that time. I don't usually, as you've seen, but I can.
I was just going to propose working at 8 a.m. Eastern until August, and then changing.
That sounds great to me.
So that would be 7 a.m. for you and 3 p.m. for you, right, Dennis?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Okay. Great. And we will change that in August, probably before August. We'll talk about it. The next thing was, how often are we meeting as a circle? I believe our steward has proposed that all 3 of us meet at least once a month. And I consent to that. I think that would be great. Dennis, I think you and I should still do our breakout training, and we can kind of summarize that and what we see happening in our circle meetings. Great. So that would make our next meeting for July, 1, 2, 3, either July 7th or July 14th. Tony, anything on your calendar?
Okay, let me think here.
Oh, actually, I propose the 14th because you have leader team the first full week.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that could work.
Great. And that might be our only meeting with this new adjusted time, because the next month will be August.
Is there any possible? That's okay. Never mind. I will figure out myself. That's all right. All right. So that is Thursday. Okay.
Great.
And then, just so I can schedule out just a bit, would we say then maybe the second Thursday of the full? Well, can we just put, August is already, it's only one more meeting before we hit August. Bummer.
Yeah. So just proposing we talk about the times again in July. That way we have a better understanding of what we're doing.
Great.
And maybe we need to meet more often. Maybe we need a different day.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Great. Fantastic. All right. It has been an hour, And I think that's enough for today. we could do more, but I think that's enough for today. So I would love, it was a lot. I would love to enter our closing round. What did you see happen? What do you take away? And just maybe 2 to 3 minutes. We'll just do 2, maybe even 1.
Yeah.
I'll keep a timer.
Can I just ask if we would like to meet one more time this month to do work, if we do have some work that we need to think about? I know with the 67 experiment closing, we're going to have some systems issues that we're going to have to talk about, and Dennis might be helpful in that conversation. I don't know how much his head is in active campaign or
a lot.
Right. So I just wonder if it would be helpful. I did have a schedule to meet the last week of June already, which would be the 30th if we're sticking to a Thursday. So I don't know if you guys if you want to meet on the 30th in 2 weeks, just to do some work together in case we need to before our July meeting.
Yeah, I would love to keep that standing meeting. And Dennis and I will be continuing to meet weekly. I don't know if you missed that.
Yes, I did miss that.
Okay.
Okay, great. Well, that would be great because I'd love to get caught up on where you guys are, what you're doing. As steward, I need to, kind of get my head around all of these things, and that'll give me some time too to start getting a list together of things that I'm seeing from the bigger perspective as well. And then y'all can bring what you're working on. And I think that would be fun to dive into some work together.
Sounds amazing. All right. So the June 30th, is that what we were saying?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then is that time frame okay for you, Tony?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Dennis?
June 30th at 7 a.m. Central Time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for bringing that to attention, Tony. Whenever we do closing rounds, we always end up doing a little extra work too, because we take a second to realize what we missed and what we need to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I am very guilty of doing that quite often with my closing round, is just coming up with a list of things we forgot to talk about. So it is really good when we can pause and listen. So let's go into just a minute or so of takeaways, closing round. And we'll start our timer.
Oh, sorry. Realizing things we need to do, but I'll put them on the agenda for next week.
I told you, when we take a break, we get a list.
All right.
We got 15 seconds left. Okay. My takeaway closing. Oh, yes. I just glanced over at the notes. This might be important. I don't know if you have the notes open. I'm so sorry. Tony added, go over the aims and domains of the circle, which we probably should have done like at the beginning, but it's fine. All in due time. My takeaway is this recording is going to be very crucial, and I think this is the best way you have described Sociocracy and onboarded someone onto Sociocracy. We've done this multiple times, and it just keeps getting better. So next time, maybe I'll say the same thing, but this is the one. This is the best one so far. And
So glad.
I thank you so much for being able to scaffold it and set us up for success and hold all these terms and technical things. It really shows how much you love researching and understanding, and also being able to clearly communicate those things, because it's one thing to understand it, but it's another to share it. And you model that so brilliantly, and I'm very excited for this recording. And if you've been watching and you're very confused or you don't get it, please leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I was taking away, yes, of course, the things that we left out or forgot, but we just didn't have time to do. So that's fine. And I thought, I was remembering forming circles with John and Susan when we first started doing this, and it's just clunky. It's clunky, and it's not the typical work that we normally do, because we're setting ourselves up for success. We're setting the circle up for success. And it made me think of, we have a calendar of the whole year in our dining room. And Matt and I sat down at the beginning of the year and took 3 hours to literally plan our entire year of all the workshops, the weekend workshops we have, and the out-of-town trips with the kids, and the fun things, and vacation, and just map it all out so we could see, is this balanced? And, can we pull this off? What do we need to say no to guide us for the whole year? And while that was maybe a little clunky and took time, and someone could say, this is such a waste of time, like, what are y'all doing? It has allowed us to just live into the year in amazing ways without having to think about what we're doing. What are we doing? What are we doing? And we just know. And so I feel like that's kind of what this is. It's weird. It's clunky. We don't always do it. It's like, I don't know, once a year or something, but it forms and sets us up for flowing really well together the more we live into this. So thank you for forming circles and being a part of this structure that feels a little confining sometimes for some people, but really does help us function well. I was reflecting on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, thank you both. Truth to be told, I was a bit lost at the beginning because I thought it was going to be just Hillary and me doing our usual meeting.
No, sorry.
Yes, and but then,
oh no!
I thought we're going to have this circle starting on June the 29th or something like that. Yeah, closer to the end of June. But I was pleasantly surprised to learn about the sociocracy. And truth be told, I was looking forward to it. It was like one of my desires that I want to not only learn, but practice sociocracy. So I am excited about what I have seen, what I have learned, and I'm excited about my role and learning how you act in your roles and learning by observing. So I'm just grateful, surprised by the spirit, I would say, and I excited to see how all of this unfolds.
I'm so sorry, Dennis. I feel terrible. Yeah, Hillary and I were talking, and I said, why don't we do it live? This will be so fun. And she said, well, I'm meeting with them already. And I was like, okay, great. I'll just come and we'll do it. And we forgot to tell you.
Well, I'm glad you came. Yes. So we speeded some things up.
I didn't let you know what we would be doing today and that I would be here.
Tony, it's always a pleasure to see you, to have you, and to learn from you. So thank you for your
Thank you so
up.
much, Dennis. Oh goodness, this is too funny. Thank you for just rolling with it. You're amazing.
Yes.
That's called flexibility. That's beautiful, Dennis. I love it.
We do love flexibility. All right. Well, thank you so much.
So good to see you guys.
Yeah. You are welcome to leave the stage or go backstage. I am going to end our session. And apparently we just got 2 new donations. as we were chatting. Well, one is from 8 hours ago. The other one was just now. John White and Kent Larson.
Oh. So if we're still live, can I say some administrative things that people are asking questions about, mainly for you, Hillary, in case you communicate with anyone, but also for anyone who might be watching. So the donation. Rally Up asks for a donation. And that donation that they're asking for, I'm pretty sure only goes to Rally Up. It does not cover fees for the donation. So we do still get fees charged to us for the donations. And usually if we had orchestrated it a different way or set it up a different way, then people would have had an option to cover their own fees. But because we elected the one that we have elected, I don't think they have an option to cover their own fees. So just so people are clear, that donation is a donation to Rally Up. Rally Up has been incredibly supportive to us during this campaign. But part of me thinks that if people sign up for that tip, I think that's what it's called, a tip. Is that what it's called? Yeah, if they sign up for the tip, not the donation, but the tip. That my understanding is it is a monthly thing that will.
One time.
Well, when it comes back to you, though, I've tried it. It says this amount will be deducted monthly. It says that to you. Mm-hmm. So while they told us it would be one time, the automation, I think, is set up to do it monthly. So we need to check on that with them, showing them the screen that says it's coming out monthly. So that we know.
And when it says it's coming out monthly, is that including your donation to Luke 10?
It's your donation and their tip. They put it all together and they say this will be deducted monthly from your account.
Weird. That's normally not the case. And if you're uncomfortable with that, you can choose not to tip. And we won't get hit with those charges at all. Rally Up is almost a little pay it forward when it comes to that, because we don't get charged for those fees if you don't cover them. Well, and if you don't want to cover them, you don't have to.
Right.
For the Rally Up fee, not for the processing fee.
Yeah, part of me would love to donate like $1 to Luke 10 so that I can tip them one time, right? Like if I gave a one-time gift of $1, because we don't want really one-time gifts coming in because it skews our numbers. But I think I could do maybe $1 gift, a one-time or $5 one-time gift. That way it doesn't skew the numbers too much, but then tip Rally Up because I would like to tip them. And I would love for people to be able to tip them because they really have been working harder for us than they do for most campaigns. So that would be a creative way for us to still thank you to Rally Up and help fund them, but not have to do it monthly ongoing for however long.
It would also be good to see what their system says with that monthly tip.
Yeah.
Or not monthly tip, that one-time tip.
What do you mean what their system says?
Like when you donate $1 to Luke 10 and you tip however much you want to tip to Rally Up, it'll be fun to see what changes in their system from monthly to one time. And if they
because you don't give monthly, you don't choose monthly. If you don't choose monthly, it's just a one-time donation. They pull it out one time, and your thing says thank you for your one-time donation, and that's it.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you did that already.
Yeah. So I tried to, and that's what came to me when I hit the whole thing. I haven't hit go yet, but it did say this will be one time deducted from your account.
Interesting. So do you want to follow up with Rally Up again with that, or would you like me to?
I would. Well, we can talk about that later, maybe. I would love for you to, but if it's too much, I can. And I don't know if I'm going to be debriefing Amy today either. So I don't know what other things I'm taking today for you. So I'm like, if I take Amy, I'd love for you to do that.
No, I can take Amy. I didn't realize they were meeting next week when I sent that email at like 6 a.m. this morning.
Okay. Dennis, you are free to go unless you just love to watch us.
Back and forth really fast.
Work stuff. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, both of you, and God bless.
Blessings to you too. Bye.
All right. We are still live.
I was going to say we could have debriefed forming a circle, but anyway, we need to go. We're tired and we've got other meetings today. Probably. I know I got other meetings today. Yeah. So
I also need to schedule a gentle curiosity with myself. But I can't facilitate it. And
no one signed up to facilitate it?
No. I didn't put it on the schedule, but I need to. And I'm wondering if you can look at the schedule and see when you're available to facilitate that for me.
Totally. Does anyone
Awesome.
else need a facilitator? Because I haven't looked at that original schedule in a while.
John needs a facilitator for his
Yes.
gentle curiosity. Yes. And then I'm doing Susan, but I don't have that listed out yet.
Okay. I need that file.
I'm going to end our session and we will be back at 9 a.m. Eastern, hopefully with some virtual chat. Virtual conference chat.